All right, welcome back to The Explainer. You know, when most of us hear the word warfare, our brains immediately jump to the obvious stuff, right? Massive armies, deafening explosions, chaotic battlefields out in the physical world. But what if I told you that the absolute most critical, most decisive battles you're ever going to fight in your life aren't fought out there at all? They are fought quietly, and honestly, often completely invisibly, right inside your own head. So today, we're diving deep into a truly fascinating concept, mastering the inner battlefield through self-directed warfare. Let's kick things off with a quote that completely flips our normal expectations of war right on its head. The art of war is to win without bloodshed or the use of force, otherwise the minimum necessary use of violence. Just sit with that for a second. The absolute highest form of strategy, the pinnacle of conflict resolution, is actually avoiding the messy, destructive physical clash altogether. It's about securing that victory through pure mental and strategic dominance.
And to guide us through this mastery today, we're basing this explainer on the acclaimed work of Robert Greene, specifically his book, The 33 Strategies of War. Now, Greene covers a massive amount of historical ground in this text, but we are putting a laser focus exclusively on the very first part of his framework today, self-directed warfare. Because history has shown us time and time again that you literally cannot conquer the world if you haven't conquered yourself first.
So here's our strategic map for today. We'll start with winning without bloodshed, move into declare war on yourself, then forget the last war, keep presence of mind, create desperate urgency, and finally, your inner battlefield. Section 1. Winning without bloodshed, the ultimate victory. Like we just talked about with our opening quote, the highest form of warfare actually means taking total control of your own impulses before they tear you apart from the inside. But how do we actually pull that off? That brings us to Section 2. Declare war on yourself, the Xenophon strategy. To really get this, we're traveling all the way back to 401 BC to a group of Greek mercenaries who found themselves in a seriously dire situation. Picture this, you're trapped deep in hostile Persian territory, and your leader has just been killed. It's a nightmare. Now, obviously, the external enemy, this massive Persian army surrounding them, was a huge, terrifying threat. But Xenophon, who stepped up to lead, realized something crucial. The far more dangerous threat was actually internal. His men's spirits were absolutely crushed. They were panicking, pointing fingers, fighting each other. He knew that if they didn't defeat this internal chaos first, the Persians wouldn't even have to draw their swords. They'd defeat themselves. So Xenophon steps up and completely shifts their focus away from the blind panic and squarely onto one thing: survival, just making it home alive. By doing that, he defeated the inner enemy. As Greene emphasizes, you cannot swing a sword effectively if you don't even know what you're trying to hit. Yes, it's you against the world, but first, it's you against you. You've got to fight those inner demons. Don't let your raw emotions or your ego hold the reins. Know yourself, conquer that inner turmoil, and suddenly you can stand up to absolutely anyone. All right, Section 3. Forget the last war, the Musashi strategy. Because once you've managed to conquer that inner panic, the next big trap is complacency. And for this, we're looking at one of the most legendary martial artists to ever walk the earth. Let me ask you something. Why exactly was Miyamoto Musashi considered one of history's absolute most dangerous samurais? Was he just that much stronger? Did he just swing a sword faster than everyone else? Not exactly. The real answer is all about his mental approach to warfare and how masterfully he manipulated his opponent's minds. Musashi's ultimate secret was that he categorically refused to fall into a predictable routine. He was constantly changing up his fighting patterns, switching tactics from duel to duel. Imagine what that does to an opponent. It keeps them entirely off balance, constantly guessing, always on the defensive. He literally weaponized nervousness and paranoia to make his rivals easy targets. Musashi deeply understood that just because a move worked yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work today. He forced his mind to adapt to the present moment instead of fighting the ghost of his last battle. And honestly, this maps perfectly onto a broader life principle, summed up brilliantly by the playwright George Bernard Shaw. He said, "The only man I know who behaves sensibly is my tailor. He takes my measurements anew each time he sees me. The rest go on with their old measurements and expect me to fit them." When we're stubbornly fighting the last war, we're essentially forcing old measurements onto a brand new situation. True self-directed warfare means forcing your mind to take fresh measurements every single time you step onto the field. Moving on to Section 4. Keep presence of mind, the Lord Nelson strategy. We've tackled panic. We've tackled routine. Now let's talk about chaos. For this one, we're heading straight into the deafening naval battle of Copenhagen, back in 1801. Just try to put yourself in this scene. You are dead center in a massive naval bombardment. The noise is literally deafening. Wooden ships are splintering all around you. Cannons are blasting non-stop. And to top off this insane high-pressure chaos, your own commander is basically hysterical, screaming frantic orders in the middle of this total uproar. It is the textbook definition of a chaotic environment perfectly designed to completely break your mental resolve.
So what did Lord Nelson do? He kept a totally cool head in the most hectic situation you could possibly imagine. He actually disobeyed his frantic commander's orders. Why? Because he knew he needed to see the battlefield for what it actually was, not distorted through the lens of somebody else's panic. By staying icy alert when everyone else was losing their minds, ignoring the hysteria, and just waiting to react swiftly when a real opportunity opened up, Nelson completely outmaneuvered the Danish Navy. The takeaway here? Do not let chaos intimidate you. When everyone else is panicking, you stay perfectly calm.
Section 5. Create desperate urgency. The Dostoevsky strategy. Now, this is arguably the most intense form of self-directed warfare we're looking at today. It's all about weaponizing our ultimate deadline. The famous Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky experienced a psychological shift that's almost hard to comprehend. You see, he didn't just theoretically know he was going to die someday. He literally stood in front of a firing squad, facing his own imminent execution before getting a last-minute reprieve. When you stare death in the face like that, everything instantly snaps into crystal-clear focus. You immediately drop all the non-essentials in your life. You stop caring about the trivial nonsense that most of us waste our energy on when we take our time for granted. Dostoevsky used that raw desperation. He treated every single piece of work from then on as if it were his absolute last. His work became exceptional because he completely eliminated his own comfort zone. He realized something we all need to realize. You can never wait for the right time because you're never going to feel 100% prepared to start. There's this incredibly chilling old gravestone inscription that the source material points out, and it captures this mindset perfectly. Tu fui ego eres. As you are, I was. As I am, you will be. Wow. It is a haunting, powerful reminder that our time is strictly limited. If you actually internalize that fact, you suddenly realize you just cannot afford to waste your days on petty inner conflict or endless procrastination. You use your own mortality not as something to fear, but as the ultimate high-octane fuel to get moving, right now. And that brings us to Section 6, your inner battlefield, synthesis. We've looked at some of history's greatest warriors and thinkers, but what does all this mean for you, today, fighting your own modern battles? Here's the bottom line. We've just pulled a highly actionable, historically proven toolkit for mastering your mind. Number 1, like Xenophon. Fight your inner demons, your ego, your bad morale, before you ever try to face the world. Number 2, like Musashi, forget the last war, throw away the old measurements, and aggressively adapt to the reality in front of you. 3, channel Nelson. When everyone around you is totally losing it, keep your presence of mind and see things clearly. And finally, embody Dostoevsky. Use the reality of your limited time on Earth as relentless fuel to stop waiting and start doing exceptional work. So I'm going to leave you with one final, vital question to think about. Are you truly prepared to conquer yourself before you face the world? Because as history proves over and over again, the single most dangerous enemy you'll ever encounter is the one staring right back at you in the mirror. Master that inner battlefield, and the external enemies, they just won't be able to touch you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Get out there and good luck mastering your own battlefield.